Welcome to Rock the Life, a podcast for fans by fans. I'm Katya.
I'm Amy.
Amy, today we have part two of a really
hmm
fun interview that we did with Sher Bach.
We
What will we
do.
hear?
Oh my gosh. Her first interview was or part one was really great, but we get into some really fun stories in this one, from proving to her son's friends, yes, my mom knows Kiss, to an amazing story involving Alice Cooper. You're going to get a kick out of it. It's a lot of fun. You
These
guys
are
really.
great 80s rock stories. These are like
Oh
the
my gosh.
epitome of what we live for to hear.
Seriously, like it's just everything, rock the life all into just shares life,
What,
you know?
one amazing human being. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, such an adventure. Such an adventure. So, you guys, really hope you enjoy part 2 of our sit down with Cher Bach. Here's Cher.
Here she is.
Hi,
Hi,
Cher.
girl.
Welcome back. Oh my gosh. Are you ready to do this again?
Yes.
We're going to pick up right where we left off.
Remember the time? So my son, Michael, my younger son, he would tell his friends that my mom used to work for Kiss, and they go, yeah, sure, whatever. And so one day, I found out that they were going to be at Comic Con, or is it Comic Con? Yeah, at Jacob Javits. So I told Michael to get your buddies together. We're going to go down to Jacob Javits. We're gonna prove that I worked for them. So I'd still been in contact on and off with Paul Stanley. I dated Bob Kulick. Bob Kulick had
Mhm.
rented Paul's apartment when Paul moved to L.A. And then I ran into Paul. I saw Paul in Puerto Rico when they came down to play. I've got a Paul Stanley story about that too. But and then I ran into him on the street. I just moved back after living in Puerto Rico. I was walking, going to job interviews, and I passed him on the street, and he was like, "Cher." I was like, "Paul, what are you doing?" I said, I'm job hunting," and he goes, "Well, we manage ourselves now. We have our own management company. Why don't you go down?" I'm like, "You can't afford me. You can't afford me." I said, "Just like the music business doesn't pay like it used to. So, but thanks,
Mm,
thanks for the offer." So, anyway, we got to Jacob Javits, and we walk up, and they got the ropes, and there's a line around the
mm-hmm,
corner of
mm-hmm.
people trying to get into this thing. And Big John, who was their bodyguard for the longest time, who's since deceased as well, he takes one look at me, and he's like, "You look familiar." And I had the perm when I was back in the 80s.
Oh,
At
yeah.
this
Oh,
point,
yeah.
my hair
We
was
all have to have that.
my hair was straight, and I was heavier, so I had boobs. And I go, "It's me, Sher Bach." And he goes, "Oh my God." He gives me a big hug, and he opens the rope. And my son turns around, looks at his friends, and goes, oh, his friends are like, oh my God, he wasn't lying. So we
Whoa.
go, we go right up to Gene and Paul. And I was with my best friend, Star, who's an amazing singer, Native American singer. She's got a tattoo on her chest of a star, and it says, "She who dares wins." That's her tattoo.
Mm.
And
Lovely.
so I'm talking. I go up to Paul, and Paul, big hug, kiss. How are you? And the kids are all like, "Ugh," losing their minds. And he's signing comic books for them. And he says, "What are you doing now?" I said, "I'm working for Playgirl magazine." And he goes, "Are you?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "How's that going?" I said, "It's going okay." I said, "By the way," I said, "we have a rock issue that we do every year, and from what I've been told, they've been wanting you guys to be in the magazine, but your management keeps saying, no, it's a gay magazine. We can't." And I said, "And the reality is, gay men buy it, but it says right on it, entertainment for women. And if a gay guy wants to
Yeah,
read about women's yeast infections, that's their prerogative. But
that's great.
it's not just naked men. So he writes a name down and a phone number, Pamela, and the name and the number, and he gets call that number, and we'll make an arrangement. In the meantime, I'm overhearing a conversation between Star and Jean, and Jean goes, "Is that real?" Like, to her tattoo, and she looks down. She goes, "It's a lick off." And it was the first time I'd ever seen Gene without something to say. Like, he was like, "Oh, Okay. Because Star is one of those, like, she's like me. She don't care who you are. Yeah, she's going to. And Gene, like, when I was working for them, I always felt intimidated by him. I don't know why. Now I'm not. But, you know, when I was younger, I was just like, he just had that kind of energy. And I was like, oh, I don't want to piss him off.
Yeah.
And the joke in my office, because my husband's name was Gene, and he was dating Cher and Gene and Cher.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
He called the office one day and he said he thought it was Catherine. I answered the phone. He's like, "Hey, Kath, it's Gene. Can I talk to Bill?" I said, "It's not Catherine. It's Cher." And he goes, "Oh, funny." I said, "No, this is Cher. Cher, the other Cher, not your Cher." Yeah.
Right.
You're not my Gene, but that's okay.
Cher would come up to the office and she was lovely. I love her. She is just the most loveliest person ever. You know, just we'd sit around and talk about our kids and, you know, our kids liking Kiss and how, you know, Chastity was the one that introduced her to Gene and the whole nine. And she's just, I saved her. We were at, it was a double platinum album party. It was at a restaurant in Little Italy during the feast. They have that Italian feast every year, San Gennaro, where they block off all the streets. Puglia was the name of the restaurant. And so they rented the place out just for the party. And I was in a limo with Bob and Bruce Kulick. And in front of us was Gene and Cher. And this was before they came off with their makeup. So Gene and Paul, they all covered their faces when they were out in public. But everybody knew that Cher was dating Gene. So even though he had his face covered, they're like, no, it's got to be Gene Simmons, you know, because he's with Cher. So we go inside. And at one point, she and I went to the bathroom. And when she came out of the stall, everybody was glomming on her to get her, you know, autograph, like napkins and stuff. Yeah. And she's like, help. Because she's not, everybody thinks she's really tall. She's not. She's only like 5'7". You know, she's just lean, very long, you know. Mm-hmm. She's like, help. Mm-hmm. So I went and got Gene. Gene came out in his platform boots and just kind of reached into the bathroom and pulled her out, you know.
Here's my little side note on that.
Okay.
I had a Cher Barbie doll, and
I didn't even know they existed. That must be really.
They existed. Loved my Cher Barbie doll, but so that I'm glad that you said she's only about 5'7", because she was bigger than all the other Barbie dolls. So my mom had to make her gowns because the traditional Barbie clothes did not fit the Cher Barbie doll, but she had gorgeous long black hair.
Oh yeah.
And I think I might still have her because I loved Cher, so I got a Cher.
Well, I did get to, I never saw her in concert until I'd moved to LA, and it was my birthday, and my girlfriend came in from Puerto Rico, and we drove to Las Vegas on my birthday to see Cher. Seeing Cher.
Oh,
that was
what a treat.
It was good. It was good.
Did you ever, like, in all of your wildest adventures, did you ever have somebody that, like, came into the office or that you ran into that you were just, like, googly?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Googly-eyed over, nervous for all of that?
Yes. Jack Palance. I think that too. So I was, you know, Jack was an old man to me, you know, but he was friends with the editor-in-chief of Playgirl. He was actually her daughter's godfather. But she called me up and she goes, Jack's taking me to lunch and he wants to meet you. I'm like, why? She goes, well, I told him that you were pursuing acting and he wants to give you kind of like, you know, nice. Go for it kind of thing. Yeah. So this was on a Friday, and on Fridays we dressed down. You wear jeans, sneakers, you know. So I had my hair in a ponytail. I didn't have any makeup on. Jeans. I think I had like a T-shirt on or something. And I was like, she goes, I said, not today. And she goes, well, he's only in town for today. And I'm like, no, I'm not dressed. I don't have any makeup on. I look like shit. She's like, oh, you're beautiful. Oh. So I decided I'm going to sneak away before he gets to my office. So I get to the elevator door is open, and there he is. And I was like,
I love it.
I didn't know what to say. I was just like, and he was like, big smile, and he's just life, big hands. And he takes my hand and he goes, you must be Cher. And I said, no, he called me Cheryl. You must be Cheryl. And he took my hand and I was like, Yeah. And when he took my hand, it was like I could see this movie clip in my head with Marilyn Monroe and Frank Sinatra and James Dean and all like the old Hollywood. I saw black and white.
Streetcar, yeah.
Yeah, just like all of the Marlon Brando, all of this old Hollywood, because I was studying Meisner at the time. Meisner, method acting. We talked about all these other actors, older actors, and then I was studying with Gary Austin, who was the founder of the Groundlings Theater, and he had a lot of Marlon Brando stories to tell. So it was just like everything was just coming together. And he said, and I understand you want to be, I understand you're an actor. And he says, I think you'll go far. I think you'll do really well. Well, you were wrong, Jack.
Well, see, tell us about your acting career. What did you?
I did theater, a lot of musical theater. Mm-hmm. I didn't stick with it. I don't stick with much. I'm like, I have a squirrel brain. Let me try this. No, let me try this. Okay, that's okay for a little.
That keeps it interesting.
Yeah. So
you just
right. So it's like somebody wrote a book a couple of years ago, more than a couple, about all the different jobs that she had, and I said I could probably top her because I have done so many things. It's not like I've had so many jobs in the same industry. I've sold life insurance and health insurance. I sold cars. I worked in the music industry. I was a go-go dancer. I was a dominatrix. We haven't gotten to that yet.
You were a DJ.
In fact, Doug even said to me, like, did you tell them about the dominatrix? I said, I didn't get to that part yet, but that's coming. I'm not, it's not it's no secret, to most people. I'm a licensed massage therapist. I'm a Reiki master now. And then the company that I have now with my partner, Jay, we're a boutique talent agency, booking agency, management agency. And Babylon AD is one of the groups that we work with now. Jay was their original manager. He got them signed to Arista back in the 80s. Developed a good relationship with Clive. Here's another synchronicity story coming up here. So Toms River, New Jersey, there was this boy that I went to school with. He was 2 years younger than me. His name was Jack Pontorero. Everybody called him Fat Jack because he was a big boy. He was, and I was one of those kind of kids that if you were getting bullied, I was going to take care of the bullies, so I would always fight. And I get teased about, oh, your boyfriend's coming. It's like, no, he's a kid. He was 2 years younger than me. And he was good friends with my cousin. And anyway, he would tell everybody that he knew Alice Cooper. Oh, I know Alice Cooper. I'm friends with Alice Cooper. And he wore these Coke bottle glasses. I know Alice Cooper. Yeah, sure you do. Sure you do, buddy. And so when I was after I had run away, I was at Max's Kansas City one night, sitting at a table. Alice Cooper is sitting right next to me. And he's got a bunch of empty beer bottles around him. And I was kind of like, oh my God, this is Alice Cooper. Like I'd seen, other celebrities had been there, but Alice Cooper, this is Alice Cooper. So I go,
how old were you?
16. It was before I met my husband. So I go, I went to school with this kid that says he knows you. Not thinking in my head, now looking back, if Alice had been sober, he would have went, you went to school with this kid, he's 12. What are you doing in a bar?
You're 14.
But he didn't, he goes, I go, his name is Jack Pontorero. And he goes, Jack Pontorero? He goes, I know Jack. He goes, I bought a car from his dad. Well, his dad was a car salesman, so,
sweet.
Something to do with his dad, but he was like, yeah, he's a really talented kid. So of course I have to go home and call all my friends that knew where I was. I mean, I had some of my friends' parents knew where I was. My grandparents knew where I was. Did not tell my mother.
Okay.
Did not tell my mother. In fact, when my mother found out that that I had gone to Jersey and visited my grandparents, she lost her mind. She was furious, as she should be. But I called him up and I said, he wasn't lying. He does know Alice Cooper. So
I know Alice Cooper. Come on.
Yeah.
But Jack went on to be Jack Ponte, who co-wrote a lot of the songs on Babylon's first and second album, I want to say. He was in Bon Jovi's first band, Atlantic Expressway, and produced a lot, worked with a lot of people, Skid Row. I mean, he was constantly coming up. And I ran into him. My husband was doing a show, and his sister and his mom were there, and I ran into him, and he had lost all the weight. He had gotten diverticulitis, so he was no longer Fat Jack. But sadly, he passed away a couple of months ago, and we had a falling out because he, I guess, sometimes I think when you are bullied as a child, if you don't work through that, you hold on to that anger and rage, and you're still that fat kid inside. You know what I mean? You haven't worked through it and accepted that, kids are cruel. Kids are fucking mean.
Yeah.
And some adults are too. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, so Cher, I want to ask you, with such a talented background, like between like the dancing, the music, and you being an artist, what type of who are you representing besides like musicians like Babylon AD as a?
Well, we have a band called Flip out of Minneapolis that were also managed by Bill Coyne. They were part of the MTV era, late '80s, early '90s. Kind of like Cheap Trick meets Billy Idol. I mean, kind of like that. Pop. Yeah. They sound like Cheap Trick, but they look like Billy Idol. I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, they've got some really good songs. They had outrageous shows. They would throw like little miniature cereal boxes out at the audience, and they had little gimmicks.
Safe.
Look them up, FLIPP. If you look at some of their videos on YouTube, really good. And we book them. They're still kind of active. Bryn, who's a genius, he's just a genius. His brother Kai, who is in LA, is an artist, a visual artist as well. They formed the band, and they're just a really good band. Then we have a young rap artist out of Canada called DNA. His name is Dylan Anthony, but goes by DNA. That we're still kind of trying to rein in. He's young. He's not really done anything, but he's very talented. And it's like Jay and I are we're that's what we want to work with. We want to be able to work with somebody that we can help. We don't want to mold them. We want to take what do you have to offer? Let us guide you in the right direction. Introduce you to the right people.
How are you doing? Any actors?
Yes, we have Ed. Well, we don't manage him, but we're booking him. Ed Trucco, he's Argentinian. Look him up. He's gorgeous.
I will do
and we dated in the '80s in Puerto Rico, but he and he's a sweetheart. He's like one of my dearest friends. Very talented. He's a writer also. We're working on with him on a script that he and two other writers wrote, based on true stories. Very much with what's going on right now in this country, if you know what I'm talking about. So it's pretty heavy. But he's been on he even though he's Puerto Rican and Argentinian, he looks like a gringo. He's a white boy, and he's always getting cast as a Spanish guy, or he's like an American guy speaking Spanish. So he was the last thing he did was La Reina del Sur, which is a Spanish telenovela, kind of like a Law and Order, Spanish version of the Law and Order kind of thing. He always plays an FBI agent or a cop. He's been on Law and Order a couple of times, and he's got quite an extensive resume. Then we have Amanda Walker, who has been on a couple of she was on NCIS New Orleans. She's also a singer-songwriter. She just moved back to New Orleans, so I have to go down and visit her there. I got to see her new studio. She inherited this gorgeous recording studio. So she left Nashville a couple weeks ago to move back there. Who else do we have? Dan Schaefer, who's on The Voice. He started out as a jingle singer in New York back in the day. He was on Blake Shelton's team on The Voice. Incredible voice. What a vocalist. He just sent me a couple of new songs that he's written that are phenomenal.
So, and also with your diverse talent and background, you could, I think, manage most any type of artist and people with multiple.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like he and I, we do not see eye to eye on politics at all, but I love him and he loves me, and it's it's like we just because you don't agree with me, as long as you're not disrespectful, As long as you don't attack me personally, call me names, or say anything about my family, we're fine. I don't give a shit. You know, like Doug says, you know, there's a bird has two wings, a right and a left. If you only use one, you're just going to go around in circles.
Do you get to New York City much anymore?
I do. I was just there a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
I was there for our IEBA conference, and it rained the whole time I was there.
That's good. Plenty to do inside in New York too.
Yeah.
So that is.
Yeah. But, and I'm supposed to be out. I'm supposed to go to LA in August, for Babylon's doing their record release. August. Bless you. Salud.
Sorry.
August 8th
August
at the
what?
Whiskey. August 8th.
Are you gonna be? Is that the show
come?
you're at, Amy?
Are you gonna come, Amy? If you go,
We're
I'll
trying.
go.
Okay. Listen. Okay, sorry. This is
I'm gonna
so
write these
excited.
down. Okay.
Okay, so August 8th. Okay, so my husband was in a band way back in the day. That's actually how we met.
What's the name of the band?
And Untamed.
Untamed.
And Bay Area band.
Oh, okay.
Untamed.
Well, because you know Babylon.
Bay Area band.
You know.
Yeah, I know.
You know
Babylon,
that
we know their Bay Area.
Yeah, we do. Actually, I'll tell you a couple stories. And his old band a long time ago played the Whiskey, but their bass player had left by that time. Greg is now in a new band, and they're opening for Babylon AD at the Whiskey.
On the 8th?
Uh-huh.
You're fucking kidding me.
No.
Oh my God. This is meant to be, girls.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So you'll be there.
I think we're really trying to get there. We have childcare to arrange. We have all these things that we have going on that we're really trying to work out. But we're working on it.
So what's the name of his band now?
Oh shoot. You would have to ask me that, wouldn't you?
I don't know my husband.
You know it, Amy. You know the band.
I know the band, but I don't know the name of the band.
Well,
I saw them Slaughter too.
Wait,
they were really great.
Hold on, maybe it's on there. Maybe it's on the site. Hold on a minute. Hold on.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
I
I should text my husband. But
wait till I tell Jay he's gonna die.
Yeah, and then to be honest with you, while you look that up, I've never seen Babylon AD because all of their shows in the Bay Area, by the time I was introduced to them, they were all 21 and over. And my husband and Greg spent my husband's 21st birthday at Niles Station seeing Babylon AD. And we couldn't get in. So we were decorating my husband's car on the outside.
But Amy, I think this is one thing we have to be shamed for. We never had fake IDs. That's what ruined it for us. How did everyone else in the world have fake IDs except us?
God. Are you fucking kidding me?
We didn't.
Okay, so wait. Are you ready to hear this shit? You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
LA Guns. All right, this is on July 19th. LA Guns. Who's playing? Smattered Faith. Never heard of them. Bunch of bands, but when I tell you what the ticket prices are, you're gonna laugh. LA Guns, Melody Mortal, Blaze Francisco, Awaiting Abigail, Run Silent, Layla Harlack, and Gravecore. Guess how much the tickets are? They're starting at $48.90, but they go up to $620.55. No offense, LA Guns, but why would I want to spend $620 to see a bunch of old fuckers?
Do you know how much I'm paying for Green Day this weekend?
That's different. $35.
$60. $60, yeah.
Yeah. When I saw them at Madison Square Garden, I had Prime, $35. Every seat in Madison Square Garden was $35. And that's the way it should be. These I get it.
That's the band.
These guys make money, but that's disgusting. I'm sorry. I just that's
wild.
People are starving, and you're gonna get charged $620 to what? To meet and greet. I won. So I won VIP tickets and a bass guitar to see Rush. Oh
wow.
When Stars was opening for them, when Stars was touring with them, my sister loved Rush. So I took my sister. I was backstage with the band, with Stars, with the band. And she was downstairs on the floor, and they would play 2 or 3 hours. And anyway, I won VIP tickets and I took my son, and it was my granddaughter was born with a bilateral cleft palate and one nostril, no top lip. So that's why I moved back from LA to help out. And she was having her surgery that day when I got the call. So we were all at Vanderbilt Hospital, and she was only like 3 or 4 months old. She was a baby. And so everybody was kind of on edge. When I got the phone call, I said to my son, you like Rush, because my son's a nerd. He's like, oh yeah, I love Rush. I said, okay, you want to be my date? I'll pick you up at the hospital, because they were sleeping at the hospital. I'll pick you up at the hospital. We'll go to the show, and I'll bring you back to the hospital. So when we got to the show, there was a guy there were people that paid for these VIP tickets. They only gave the guitar to the people that won. So I was the winner of that show.
Wow.
So as I'm walking, the guy says, whatever, don't try to get an autograph. Don't talk. Don't just take your picture and keep walking. So that's not me. I know I've met these guys. I know these guys. I've hung out with these guys. No, I'm going to say hello. So as I'm walking up it was Getty and my God, the guitar player. Shit, this is
Alex Lifeson.
Alex, yes. So Alex is standing behind Getty, big grin on their face, and I go up, I take Getty's hand, and I go, I met you guys back in the 70s when you were touring with Stars. And Alex goes, Stars? Well, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time. And I said, yeah, they're still around. And so I'm still talking as we turn around, we face the camera, and Alex takes my hand. He's holding my hand, and he's like, I see. He goes, so you worked with Star? Yeah, I used to work for Bill Coin. So I'm talking the whole time they're taking a picture. And so the picture comes out, and I'm holding Alex's hand. You can see me holding his hand. And all the Rush nerds were like, we're not worthy. We were in the
touch me now.
We were in the front row. We were so close to the stage that I could have kissed Neil Peart's drum set. Do you know what I mean? It was like,
wow.
That's awesome.
I've got pictures of Getty blowing me kisses from the stage. Like, blowing kisses. And we had the best time, and it was one of the best shows I have seen in my life. I never thought I was going to be a Rush fan, because I just, that it's too frenetic for me, like the rhythm of their music. I mean, it's memorable, but as a dancer, there's certain songs that just don't hit me right. Like sometimes I'll be like the Wings, Paul McCartney and Wings. I could never get into any of their songs. I don't know what it was, but it was just like,
I saw them play.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, I just can't. Yeah. I love Paul. I love,
Absolutely.
I'm part of a Stones fan, but I like the down and dirty rock. They were too clean cut for me. But so that I just went off on another tangent, didn't I? I'm still trying to find
Stone.
I'm still
Rusted Stone.
Rusted Stone is the name of the band. Okay. Wait till I tell them. Oh my God, he's gonna die. Because Jay talked to him. Jay was like, about doing this podcast. He goes, well, maybe we could get Ron to do it. And I said, anybody who can put string sentences together is fine. I mean, let's face it. You don't want somebody down here going, ask me a question.
Yeah. You know what though? We are really good at just
Well, Amy, we like talking.
We do,
but
we're really good at like helping people relax and like getting,
We should do it. We should do like a series.
Love it
with wine.
No, sure,
with
wine. More stories from you. I have that.
You put the kids to bed.
Beer right now.
You'll have to stay up. You'll have to stay up all night. You put the kids to bed.
This is right. I'm good with it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna actually be in LA on the 8th.
I haven't made my plans yet, but if you're going, go. Yeah. I mean,
I'll let you know. We're looking at it.
I mean,
and I will let you know
the other day, and he was like, he's probably going to go. He's out in La Quinta in Palm Springs. So,
okay.
And then Doug, right. I talked to Doug last night about it, because Doug has a place in down near Long Beach in Paramount that he's got to sell. He's got to sell it. Just there's no two ways about it. Wow. But he doesn't want to do it in August because it's so hot. So I'm like, well, if it's hot now, what are you going to wait another 6 months? You're paying all that money in taxes. It's just sitting there. But it's his business. But I talked to him about going out in August too. So either way,
That would be
Okay.
great.
you know, more than
That would be great.
more than likely I'll go.
Mm-hmm.
More than likely I'll go.
This summer.
Okay.
But when I was there,
Yeah.
when was I there? 2 years ago when they did their, it was their party for their last album, the record release party. And it was cold. I mean, it was hot in the desert. It was
Huh.
it
Yeah,
was like
yeah,
113 degrees by 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, how do you live like this? Like, you know,
No.
but for me, I don't like it
Mm.
cold either. I like, 70. That's perfect for me.
70s, 80s.
Well,
I'm
you
happy.
know, I was talking to Brenda yesterday who connected us,
Right.
Cher, and she was like, it's so
Yeah, she's in
so
Arizona.
dang hot.
Yeah.
And she's like, and I talked to her about we've had Pete Lauren on the show, and he posted this beautiful picture at like 10 something at night and just the last little bits of the sunset. And on the top it says 92 degrees.
Uh-huh.
And I was
Yeah.
like, no.
What
Hey,
No,
that's why you're in the
no,
Pacific
it's beautiful.
Northwest.
when I lived when
Yeah,
I lived in LA at night,
I'd
in the
like to be in
winter,
London.
I wore my fur. It got cold at night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to the 80s, I wound up working for David Krebs, who, was Aerosmith's first manager. So
Mhm.
Aerosmith, Ted Nugent, AC/DC, Dirty Looks, Adam Bomb,
Mhm.
Scorpions. God, he managed it. It was
Mhm.
Lieber Krebs. So back in the 70s, there were two main managers. It was Lieber Krebs and Aucoin Management. Those were the two big ones.
Okay.
And then Doc McGee came in a little later.
McGee.
Yeah. And he's here in Nashville too. Everybody's in Nashville. Vince Neil lives in Nashville.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, Nashville's a new
Alice,
LA.
actually, Alice Cooper, he's been here several times, but he golfs at where my younger son works. My younger son is a chef at a golf club, and
Oh, nice.
he'll, he has to, full disclosure, I can't tell you until after they're gone, but like Trump has been there with his entourage. Alice and Shep Gordon, Alice's first manager, Darius Rucker actually.
Oh.
The place is there are homes that are on this property, so it's like a private club.
Oh, yeah.
Like living on the golf.
Right.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
Darius lives there, and I think Alice has a house there too. So yeah, I mean it's a
Yeah.
happening place. I mean like I said, I go to New York and I'm there for a couple of days, and I love it, and I can't wait to leave. I just can't wait to get home. But I don't love it here either. There's like, I'm not
Yeah.
rooted
Too many
anywhere.
places are home. Your heart's too many
Right.
places too.
Yeah.
That's another way
I go
to.
to Puerto Rico and it's like I want to move back here, and then I go to LA and I want to move back. No, I don't. I want to move back. No, I don't want.
You're like, okay, maybe
Yeah.
not LA.
Yeah. It's just, and New York has just
The
changed
only
so much too. It's just
Yeah.
not.
I feel like that's the same way with LA also.
Oh, LA was like
It's
like
just
zombie land when we were there. When I lived there,
yeah.
it was 2009 to 2012. Sunset Strip was still happening, bands were still
Yeah.
playing. Gazzari, well, it was the Key Club when I was there. It was the old Gazzaris,
Yeah.
the Whiskey, the Rainbow, the Roxy, all this Viper, all those clubs were there. And there was always people mingling on the streets. And when we were there, when we went to see Babylon, I got a picture of me standing underneath the banner of the Whiskey A Go Go, and there's nobody on the street, nobody there.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
weekend
Yeah.
night. So
Yeah. It's coming. I think that music scene is really making a resurgence.
yeah,
With a lot of the bands. And so when we went to go see Slaughter
Mhm.
just this past January, it was a Sunday night and it was packed.
Oh yeah.
Packed.
Okay.
So I really feel like
Well, I saw Slaughter. We saw Slaughter, and I saw Slaughter in Nebraska 2 years ago, and it was in August. Some Coliseum, not a Coliseum. What do they call them? It was a
Like an
hangar, for lack of
amphitheater?
a better word, like an airplane hangar. I forget what they call it, like
Yeah.
a convention center. And it was
Yeah, yeah.
it was Great White, and but not with Jack.
Yeah, with Brett Carlisle.
Was it Brett?
I think we saw that same tour.
Yeah, and Slaughter. Yeah,
Brett
it was
Carlisle
packed.
and Slaughter.
It was packed. You couldn't even walk. It was packed.
Yeah,
From,
yeah.
shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, that was we had them at our fair last year or the year before. Last year? I think it was last year.
Yeah.
So, and that was so it might have been the same tour. They do that a lot though. They have we've looked up oh, what's his name? Oh gosh. Sullivan
Oh yeah, Big
Big.
Sullivan Big. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's booking a lot of those.
Yeah. Well, there's Sullivan Big.
bands.
There's Arm Entertainment. John Domagal.
Yes. Yeah.
As a matter
actually.
of fact, one of the agents that works with him is married to one of the guys in the Bullet Boys.
Oh.
Yeah. So we had been talking to them about booking Babylon AD, and it was like pulling teeth. You know, they're not because they stepped away for so long. So a lot of people don't remember them, even though they put on a great fucking show.
Fabulous.
They're
show.
fabulous.
Yeah,
I mean, live to be their age. I mean, Derek is like.
I can't wait.
In fact, Derek, there's a record label called Cleopatra Records that's putting out an album of, for lack of a better word, yacht rock, but being sung by heavy metal singers. So there's like a Captain and Tennille song, and they had Derek. You remember the song "Sailing" by Rod Stewart?
Yeah,
not
of course.
Not that one.
Not the Christopher Cross one. No.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sailing away.
Oh my gosh, my mom had Rod Stewart records.
Yeah, it was like on one of his first. I think it was on his first album.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful song, and Derek killed it. I mean, it came out really.
Oh, that's exciting.
And
that's exciting.
Let me see if I can find it, because it's going to drive me crazy till I remember it. Let's see.
Can I tell you guys why we love Chewy so much? Not only is it a one-stop shop for all of Roni's
Can you hear that?
but I can easily return.
Yeah.
Which is
Here
we
like,
go.
wait, what?
Here you go. I am sailing. Remember this song? I am sailing home again, across the sea. It's about dying. I am sailing.
Yeah.
Stormy waters to be
Rod Stewart, man.
It makes me want to cry. Just like, that era of music.
Yeah. Wow.
That's Rod. I can't play you Derek's because it happened. They can't release yet. But he's doing that. And again, so we met. We talked with Sully and met him at the conference last year. We were in talks with John, but it was like trying to book a package with Babylon AD and one for Babylon AD, and I mean, I'm friends with Ricky Rocket, so we were trying to maybe do something with Poison, and they're not touring anymore. But it's been rough. But you know what? Promoters are going to Derek and saying, we want you. So September they're doing this show in August, and then they're off to the UK for September, and then Greece.
Oh, I saw that.
And then Greece.
I
saw
will
that.
have to look up when they're in the UK in September. That will be my next
Yeah. They're doing they're playing Leicester. They're doing the Sleaze Fest in Leicester in September. I think it's September.
Okay, I'm writing that down to look up.
I think it's September 8th.
We should
September 8th or 18th. And then they're doing
maybe
London, Scotland. I was trying to get them booked in Italy. As a matter of fact, I think I even mentioned it to you, Amy. If Katya, of any places, any promoters.
I am going
Italy.
to. Yeah.
I don't know if rock is big in Italy. I know it's big in Spain, but
it is.
Is it?
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It's no, especially like Germany is like the ultimate, but like
Germany,
Italy
Sweden,
too,
Denmark, they're all big.
Rome just doesn't have the venues, but that's what I'm gonna. Yeah, we have musician people.
Milan.
We have. Milan is where they're all at.
Yeah.
Def Leppard's playing in September in London.
Oh, are they?
I'm trying to get Amy out to that show in September in London. I think it'll be wild, and then we could add on Babylon AD. I'm just making this whole
I know. Well,
have you ever heard of it? Oh, I forgot the other band. We're not really managing them though. We talked about managing them, but we're more like co-managing because he does so well on his own. Wild Street, the band called Wild Street, and they were actually in Paris for the longest time, but they're kind of scattered right now. I'm trying to get them some gigs overseas because they're very well known over there. And then I back in the day, I managed a band out of Paris. They were really, really good too. They sent me a video that they had that
Oh,
they
that's
produced
funny.
themselves, and they were so good. Temple of Silence. They were so good.
Oh.
And but I couldn't do anything with them. They wanted to come here, and I was like, there's no place for you to play. I mean, I had talked to I don't know if you know Ross Friedman, who's with the Dictators. I mean, I've known him since the '70s, and he was working with the guy that puts on the Monsters of Rock cruise.
Oh, nice.
It was another festival that he was doing, and they wanted the bands to pay to play, and I'm like, I'll send you the article that I wrote for a magazine out of Vegas, and where I trash the pay to play idea and why the music industry is such a mess right now. Is because people have gotten greedy, and they've gotten away from the art and the creativity of the music. And it's like, if you have to pay to get on stage, you should just go back into your garage and work more on your songs, on your music. If you got to get mommy and daddy and your rich girlfriend, your stripper girlfriend or whatever, to buy the tickets to get you on the stage at the Whiskey, then you got no business being on the stage at the Whiskey. And I remember walking into the Key Club and the promoter at the door going, "You're an asshole. I can't believe you wrote that article." And I'm like, I'm just being honest.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nobody's
Well,
nobody's going to these clubs. Nobody's going to these clubs for the drinks. They're going to see the bands.
They're going for the
hear music.
entertainment.
I saw the Who a couple of years ago, and my God, these guys are in their 80s maybe at this point. Fucking killed it. They killed it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
When they're doing when he does that one note that I can't do it. I can't even do it. He right on no not off pitch.
No,
didn't lose his voice. Hit that note. And I had my son with me, and my son, who just turned 51, knows the lyrics to all of these songs. I'm like, that's not even your generation. How do you? And it's it's because that music. I think that music just resonates. The '80s,
Timeless too.
70s, and the '80s resonates with our soul, our spirits. You know.
Absolutely. I'm a kid. I came kind of age. My very first tape was the first tape that I bought was Slippery When Wet. But if you look at it, you know, what I've got in my brain includes the Doors and the Eagles and, you know, the Beatles and Beach Boys, you know, because that's what I was raised on.
Right.
And, you know, even people who you don't hear, like Laura Branigan and of course Pat Benatar.
Gloria.
And yeah.
Well,
and
I can
it's
sing
exactly
every
what I
word
was
of
saying
every
when I
Beach
said
Boys
that.
song too, right? You know.
Yeah, and it just totally transcends, and you don't find that. You just haven't. I mean, and maybe it's because it's too young, but you just don't find a lot of that anymore. So it's crazy. Cher, thank you so much for sharing you've had just this amazing life, and we can't wait to hear more from you. Thank you for coming and sharing just these little tidbits. I feel like you're like a well, and I feel like there's so much more that you just have.
Well,
I do like the idea of doing a 70s, 80s, you know, doing a time frame for your books and memoirs.
Yeah.
That would be,
Well, thank you so much for asking me and having me and not telling me to shut the fuck up, because I get that a lot. Like, could we get a word edgewise?
It's awesome. Well, we will be in contact again, and can't wait to hear more stories because there's definitely you have quite a few
there's
gems.
plenty more. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could do book reading.
Oh my gosh. Right? Seriously.
The night before Christmas.
Like a year. Right. Alrighty. Well, we will talk to you again soon.
Bye.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Amy, that was so much fun. I loved hearing your stories.
Same. I feel like I could talk to her for hours upon hours upon hours, which we kind of did. But
Which we did, and I loved it.
mm-hmm,
But
same.
one good thing also about Cher is that, of course, we're going to have her on again. But if she gets those memoirs written, we'll have even more fun and be able to listen
Mm,
to those stories and get the details. Love it.
absolutely. Like I hope that she does that. I understand how daunting a task that can be, and I only attempted to write one story of one of our experiences at the beginning of this whole podcast. Oh, you know what? I forgot to tell you, Katya, I got a notification from YouTube. We are almost at a year. Like, I actually started the YouTube channel a year ago today as of recording. So it's a couple days before we air. But our actual first podcast published date was July 27th of last
Podiversary.
year. Our podiversary,
That
right?
our
Right.
podiversary is coming
I
up. Oh my
know.
goodness, yay to us.
I know.
And
Can you
well,
believe it?
Aim, speaking of, there's was another big, almost, well, we're
Mm,
the beginning of a legend, but this was an end of a legend that happened last
mm,
Saturday in Birmingham,
mm.
England. And you know what I'm talking about.
I do. I do. Ozzy's big farewell. Somebody posted,
Beautiful.
oh my gosh, somebody posted a video with him performing Mama I'm Coming Home. And my comment on that post was there's not a person in that audience that doesn't understand what they're seeing. Like, they showed
Yes, no,
people
they know the
crying,
significance of this.
and Amy
Yes.
from Amy's Music Machine, she was there. Epic story about her being there, by the way, which hopefully we'll get a little bit of information on in the near future. But she was crying. I mean, the whole night
Well,
had to have
you
been
think
this
of it,
amazing. Yeah.
50 years, right? I mean, you kind of
Mhm.
feel like, well, Ozzy's always going to play. I'm always going to have the music, some version of Black Sabbath. I'm going to have, he had the TV show for all those years. He's really like, we got to know Ozzy more than just as a
Mhm.
performer, but we got to know his family. Like,
Yeah.
now when we talk Ozzy, we like, oh, we know the kids. There's Jack and
Yeah.
there's Sharon.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
he really got into people's hearts.
Yeah. It's, I, and then going into all of the thank yous, so many musicians have been inspired by, and many of them will attribute their careers to Ozzy. I loved one of the things that they had during Crazy Train. Not only did they have Zach Wild on, guitar, which for our era, Randy was before our time. We've always loved Crazy Train and that music
It
from
was
Ozzy,
before our
but
time.
I don't remember seeing Ozzy or knowing Ozzy when Randy was alive. So for me, Jakey Lee and Zach Wilds were kind of our
Always.
era, but I absolutely loved that they had Randy up on the big screen playing
Of course.
for Crazy Train. Like, they just kind of had that memory there, and I felt like that was so touching and so incredibly amazing. I can't wait to see more of Rudy Sarzo's posts, because he was there and he had talked about the emotional aspects of, he was the roller coaster that it was about to be. And I can't wait to look at more of what he has to say about that. I can't
It's my
imagine,
new
like,
obsession this week.
right, like, just even watching all of it, 20 gazillion, it feels like miles away. It was so good in multiple ways, just for the heart, and realizing how much Ozzy's contributed to rock and just
And
careers.
he's
And
going out in his way, right? His way to go
yeah.
out. So that is awesome. Well, Aim, I can't wait to talk more about Ozzy. We're going to be digging deeper into it.
Yeah, and I have to give kudos to Sharon, because you have this brilliant madman and you have the woman managing it all. So kudos to Sharon for getting all of this together, and I think Tom Morello was a big part of that also. And just thanks is what I can say to that. Thanks. If you guys
Okay, Aim.
have a story to tell, be it Aussie related, if you were in Birmingham, give us hit us up. DM on Instagram at RockTheLifeGirl. You can send me an email at amy.rockthelife@outlook.com. Feel free to, like and subscribe. That would be nice. And don't forget, Katya, rock the life. Oh, you got two
The
of them this
life.
time.
Okay. Okay.
Love you, babes.
Talk to you soon, babe. Love you
Bye.
too. Bye.